What's going on, guys? Murph's YT13 here, and this is a very special video. I know I only usually do sort of universe mode videos, but this is WrestleMania season, baby, and there's only one way to get into WrestleMania season, and that is a good old-fashioned predictions video. I caught up with my very good friend Dan, and we did a quick chat. Well, it wasn't so quick in the end, but we gas-bagged, we got our predictions in. Make sure you get yours in down below as well, and I hope you enjoy this chat that me and Dan had. Make sure you check out all the links in the description for him and his brother's channels, his Twitch channels, all those kinds of good stuff. Show us some love, like the video, and as I said, I hope you enjoy this chat about WrestleMania 33. I guess we'll explain. I get like you probably know a little bit better than I would how we met, because I'm a little bit foggy. How did we come across each other? I remember, was it me commenting on your video or the other way around?
Yeah. So basically, the first series I had up on my channel was the Carlsbury series, and
Classic.
You'd obviously watched one of the videos, and you wrote a comment on there.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of went from there. I followed you. We followed each other on Twitter.
Yeah.
Bit of banter backwards and forwards. Then we learned we both like wrestling. We talked about that a lot, and that's kind of where it went from there. Checked out your channel. At the time, you were still doing FIFA and stuff, so I was watching quite a bit of your channel.
It seems like an absolute eternity ago that when I was doing those the Google videos, but the FIFA 17 series didn't last that long.
But to be fair, mine hasn't.
Yes, it's true.
FIFA.
It's the game. It's the game. That is for sure. But we may as well tell the people a little bit about you. So what you do, what you and your brother do, who's quite prominent on Twitch. I'll leave the floor to you. Just give us a little bit on where you're from and what you do.
Yeah, so my channel on YouTube is FanDanGoals, which is a nice little take on the FanDango name, but it was my wife that actually came up with it, and it's just a football-based channel. There's Let's Plays on there. I do Football Manager stuff, FIFA stuff, but really the main part is Premier League blogs. I talk a lot about football in general, anything that's going on, and it's just a big football channel. That's my love. That's my passion. So,
I do find like there is actually quite a lot of crossover between football fans and wrestling fans in terms of the passion for like how much they follow it. Like I know, being an Aston Villa fan, really long suffering, like an Aston Villa fan since I think I started following football in 2006 or whatever. And I know that since then that the passion is really similar, and you get angry over like really similar things like decisions and all that kind of thing. So if anyone out there really likes football, it's one of my favourite football channels, if not my number one go-to for anything Premier League. Definitely go over and check that out.
Well, like yourself, I'm long-suffering West Ham fan, so I know all about how painful football can be. I'm a season ticket holder over there. But, I started doing it because I was watching a lot of people online, and I thought, well, I'm usually throwing my 2 pennies worth in at the pub, and the lads are telling me to go and talk to someone else. So I just started doing it on YouTube, basically, and
don't tell us
the
about your
masses listen
shit.
to me.
Just go and, go and jump.
I just basically sit there moaning a lot of the time about West Ham, but some people seem to be finding it entertaining. So,
but it runs in the family, doesn't it? Because your brother's on Twitch. We may as well give him a plug. Plug the whole joint.
Yeah, we'll definitely plug him. He's on Twitch. He was one of the reasons that I started doing YouTube. I was never the most confident like my brother. My brother is super confident. He doesn't give a shit. He really is. He was a semi-professional dancer, believe it or not, when he was younger. Yeah, he's a semi-professional dancer. So he's always been in sort of like public eye. And then after he finished dancing, he became a gym instructor. So he's just like one of those uber confident dudes, basically. And he's got a Twitch channel, EastLndTramp, I believe it is. And he streams all sorts of stuff on there. It's quite funny.
All the bells and whistles too, mate. Like all these weird noises and shit that he makes, or when he gets
he's got this little soundboard.
Yeah.
He's got like this little soundboard on the desk, and he just messes about with that. But that's my brother. He's an absolute lunatic.
It's good fun. And you two are joining forces. This is what
We
we're
are,
really
yeah.
here for.
He is slowing down a little bit on Twitch. He's not really been enjoying it as much, and I think it's just because he's just burnt out from work, and it's when you're not getting the views that you used to get as well. You're not getting the people coming in. It's disheartening. So he's been after he kind of watched me do YouTube and he started learning a little bit. He wants to do it himself, and so we've decided to team up. And our new channel is called CBTV. The CB is just Colander Brothers. It's nothing original.
I like it.
And it's just going to be a bit of everything on there, basically. Me and my brother are the best of mates. So there's bound to be quite a lot of banter being thrown backwards and forwards between us. There's always been an underlying sibling rivalry as well. He thinks he's better at everything than I am, and so it's gonna be quite funny. We're gonna do a lot of gaming videos. We're gonna do forfeit FIFA, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
He's gonna do fitness videos on there because he's really into that sort of thing. I might even do some drum videos.
Look out.
For those that don't know, I play the drums. I did it as my living for a little while.
Did you really? I did not know that.
No, that's something that I keep quite quiet. But the West End in London, I actually worked on a few shows. I worked on Hairspray, Avenue Q, and I was going to audition for Aladdin recently, but didn't bother.
Do you know, me and my missus are going to go and watch Aladdin in Melbourne in April. I got her tickets for Christmas. It was a last minute thing. I hope she doesn't listen to this because I was going to actually get her tickets to Adele, but it sold out well before I even looked. So I ended up settling for tickets to Aladdin, which is one of her favourite movies as a kid. But that would have been, imagine that, you come over to Australia to play the drums on fucking Aladdin.
It would have been brilliant, mate. But so there's just going to be a bit of everything on there, really.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's just
so that's CBTV. Link will be, that's it, isn't it? CBTV.
Yeah, I'll throw all the links your way, and you can stick them in the description. I suppose the big thing about CBTV though, and one of the reasons we've been talking a lot recently as well, is there's going to be a universe mode on there.
Absolutely.
It's going to be me versus my brother, basically.
Yep.
I'm going to be GM of one show. He's going to be GM of the other, and
so it'll be Raw versus SmackDown, yeah.
Basically, yeah. Yeah. And then, but it is going to be more.
That'll be steeped in genuine rivalry too. Genuine, like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No collaboration.
My brother's already kind of sat there and said he wants to take the heel role. So
yeah, good.
I'll leave him to it.
Yeah. Hey, you can be the Shane McMahon and he can be the Stephanie, and we'll just take it from there. I reckon that'll be absolutely brilliant. So if you are in the area, go over and check out CBTV. If you're a football fan, FanDanGoal. I think you're in my my recommendations, but all the links will be in the description for absolutely everything. And speaking of Raw and SmackDown, let's get to a little bit of the go home of Raw and SmackDown. And I get the feeling that both of us might be a little bit similar in our thoughts about the big week, the go home week in the world of WWE. What were your thoughts on Monday Night Raw to start with? Just general, because there's not much to talk about.
It felt like go away week.
It did.
It didn't feel like WrestleMania. It's supposed to be their biggest week of the year, and like SmackDown, the biggest thing for SmackDown that really pissed me off, there was no mention of Ambrose and Corbin. They're supposed to be fighting for the
I couldn't believe it.
IC title, and there was nothing.
But I didn't even notice. That was the worst.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice until I saw a tweet on Twitter that said, "Oh, no Ambrose, no Corbin on this show." I was like, "Fuck, you're right. There wasn't," and I didn't care.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. It's just. It's the other thing that's annoying me as well is that the women's division on SmackDown has probably been one of the better divisions since the split, in my opinion.
Yep.
They've really made a star out of Bliss, and yet it's been relegated to the pre-show.
I found that to be extraordinary. I really did, because I think I tweeted about it as well today. That seems like an aberration. It seems, the fact that Nia Jax is going to be wrestling on the main card and Becky Lynch won't be, after being on the main card last year in what I thought was the best match of the night, in that women's triple threat match.
Stole the show last year.
And now Becky Lynch is probably going to get eliminated early in a fucking 6-pack challenge. Or she might win the title. I don't know. But I think, we'll get to that later on when we go through the WrestleMania match card. But, man.
But, yeah, I kind of touched on that because they didn't really build properly on SmackDown with that either. That was a pretty throwaway segment again,
Yeah.
Okay, they brought Naomi back, but...
I thought they blew that. You could have done that in front of her home crowd. Nobody was sure.
They could have waited till Mania.
I thought she was legitimately injured and might not make it back, but they obviously knew early on that she was coming back.
Yeah.
I just feel like, just wait 5 days, guys, and bring her back at WrestleMania in front of her hometown crowd, and she takes out Alexa Bliss, takes her title back. Happy days. Perfect.
Yeah. And Raw was just, Raw's consistently been bad anyway, but...
What did you make of the Goldberg Brock Lesnar close? Because that divided a lot of people. A lot of people loved it that I saw, and a lot of people thought it was flat.
I think the biggest problem for me is I'm not a fan of the whole thing.
Mm.
I don't care for Brock versus Goldberg at Mania.
Do you think the lust of the legends has really gone? Like that luster now?
The problem I've got is that Mania was used to be built to build stars, whereas now they bring these legends back. They steal the show. You can see why CM Punk left.
Yeah.
He was relegated underneath Rock versus Cena when he was the champ. At the end of the day, the champ should be top of the show. And I know we are getting that because obviously Goldberg is champ, but we'll come to that in a minute.
Like, it's by default.
But it's ridiculous. We all knew it was going to happen. It was the most predictable thing at Fastlane. But it's just, I don't care for the whole legend slot. The only legend I want to see at WrestleMania is The Undertaker. Yeah. And that's only because of what he does at WrestleMania. I don't really care for anybody else. I thought we were going to get Kurt Angle, but it doesn't look like we're going to.
No, I think he's the Monday after WrestleMania Angle. I think he's just an obvious replacement for Shane McMahon. Would be, and hopefully he gets the chance to sort of put Stephanie in her place and, maybe like they can work an angle where Stephanie maybe gets fired by her old man because Kurt is doing such a better job than her, and like I reckon we could do without her for a year. Like you could really without her for a year, and just let the general managers take a back seat on the show, and just let the wrestlers, let the lunatics run the asylum. Like let them challenge each other. Don't always have to go through the fucking boss and get dressed down in the locker room before you can sign off on a match, or sit down at a table and have to sign a contract because that's what she tells you that you got to do and all this shit. Yeah. I could really do away with some of that for a year.
We could, they could like they won't because it's such a money making machine now. But they really, they've got their back catalogue on the bloody network. They should sit and watch it. They might actually learn how to write a storyline again.
Exactly.
Like. Even in sort of like Attitude Era, there was some stupid stuff going on back then, but you were still into it. That's the thing.
We were saying that in the Discord chat earlier while SmackDown was on, that a lot of that is looked upon with such great attitude because it had some really amazing moments, but a lot of it, like Mae Young giving birth to a fucking hand and all this, it's garbage. It's absolute garbage. Like Mae Young. Didn't she give Mark Henry a head job at one point? Wasn't that a thing? Yeah. Seriously, that's not. I mean, if that shit wouldn't fly today, obviously. But the equivalent of that is, like this Breezango shit. That's the equivalent of that. So
well, I've got to say, last week was the most disgusted I've been in a while at WWE with their treatment of Breeze.
I really felt for the guy. I don't know who he's pissed off backstage. But
they basically said that Nikki's better than him.
Yeah, that's
what is going on?
Well, what is going on? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But I don't want to be too negative because that tends to be all I am about the product. But it's hard not to be when there's just so many flawed logic.
There were some positives. I think Triple H and Seth's little promo was brilliant. Really good.
Yeah.
Triple H is one of the best talkers. A lot of people don't give him the credit.
Well, a lot of people say he's really boring and he drones on, but he wants you to hate him. That's the thing. He wants you to be annoyed by him. He wants you to be bored by him. He wants you to want Seth Rollins to kick his ass, and that's exactly what people give him.
There's not many times that you don't get invested when Triple H talks.
No, you're always sitting there. You're always sitting there, and you're absolutely glued to the TV because you know it's important, and that's what they haven't built with anybody else going forward. But they do have opportunities to do that.
That's the match I'm most looking forward to at Mania.
Yeah. It's right up there. But another thing that I loved as well was Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Their whole build, I think, is main event worthy if the title was still on them and if, Old Berg
it's just
and
a shame
Brock weren't there.
That it's not for the Universal title.
Yeah, it really is, because that US title has been so mishandled that it's just literally something Chris Jericho's wearing as an accessory, just like his scarf.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean as much, but hopefully they can build a little bit of credibility, have a fantastic match, and sort of try and make Kevin Owens, because hopefully he goes over. We'll talk about that in a second, but hopefully he can take that title and make it something after the fact, when he's away playing with Fozzy and when Goldberg's fucking God knows where he's going to go in a week's time, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So we may as well jump right into WrestleMania while we're bagging everyone out. You've got the match card in front of you. I don't have anything in front of me. But let's go we'll just go from the bottom right to the top with some predictions and our thoughts and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's not in any particular order. It's just something I've pulled offline. But obviously, the first one I've got at the bottom is Ambrose Corbin.
Yeah, well, no build.
For the IC title.
No build on the go-home show, which is handy for any budding rivalry. That's 101, isn't it? That's booking 101. Don't mention it on the go-home show. Yeah. maybe people will forget how good or bad it'll be. So then you can exceed expectations when there are none.
Well, their entrance music is going to hit at Mania, and everyone's going to be, oh right, this is happening.
Yeah, shit, that's a thing. The whole forklift thing. I didn't hate it. It's attempted murder with no repercussions, but it is what it is. It's wrestling, isn't it? So I kind of liked it. I kind of liked the build, but now I feel like if they don't care, I don't care sort of attitude. What do you reckon?
The way they started it was quite nice. Elimination Chamber. You knew what was going to happen. You could see it coming, and I think Corbin's been on a bit of a tear.
Yeah,
I think he deserves the push. Since he's gone up, he's far improved from when he was down in NXT.
100%.
And deserves the chance. It's just a shame that, like you say, there was nothing mentioned on the Go Home show. So it's one of those that could be easily forgotten.
Yeah. Well, who wins?
So easily forgotten.
Who wins?
For me, Corbin. I think Corbin goes over.
Yeah. Well, I would like to see Ambrose win because I think the last time he would have won a match at WrestleMania would have been with the Shield. I reckon it would have been against DX. Maybe that one might have even been WrestleMania 30. Or was it? Yeah, when they had that squash match over DX. Can't quite remember which one, but that would have been the last win he got. I'd like to see Ambrose win, but at the same time, who fucking cares? Really? I mean, who cares? I think my official prediction will be Baron Corbin, because why not? Why not? End of days, onto a pile of chairs or something. I don't know. Do your thing, man. Just go do your thing.
Yeah.
Just win yourself an IC title. What's next?
Yeah. I've got Shane O'Mac versus AJ Styles, which is honestly laughable in itself.
Do you reckon that's you're not sold on it yet?
My issue with it is the year that AJ's had, and they give him Shane.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I know it's come out that Shawn Michaels rejected the opportunity to come back and wrestle AJ Styles.
I'm not surprised.
But, at the end of the day, he's had his retirement match and he's sticking to it. And I quite like that from Shawn Michaels. A lot of people were giving him shit online.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he was like, I've had my match, I've had my day, no more. And I like that. But surely they could have done better than to give him Shane. Yeah,
look, and I heard this on, have you ever listened to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson? It's a podcast, and it's basically Bruce Pritchard worked for the WWE for 22 years or something as a lead writer. He was also head of talent relations, all kinds of things. His take on it, which sort of turned my take on it, because I was with you. I was like, of all people, he gets the Shane McMahon match. He should be having a clinic with Nakamura. That was my thought. I was like, well, Shane should bring in a surrogate, and it should be Nakamura. And if Shane endorsed Nakamura versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania, take my money, He kind of turned it in the other way. He said, that would be nice, yes. But, Vince realistically probably doesn't know a hell of a lot about Nakamura. He probably doesn't trust him, doesn't know what he can do. He's not going to throw him in as his first match, even though he could, and we all know he could. He's not going to throw Nakamura in for his first match at WrestleMania and give him that kind of time. But what he also said is that Shane is going to be a featured match that is going to get heaps of time. And I seem to think that probably if you've got no title opportunities for him or you can't give him the main event, then the best thing you can do is give AJ Styles time. And if you can get the win, even better. Yeah. I guess there's that way of looking at it. It's just, I don't know. It was just the whole shit with AJ having to sell them jabs and stuff. Oh, mate.
On SmackDown. And
broke my heart.
I don't know. It's just an odd one for me. Yeah, obviously the whole Shane O'Mac Undertaker thing last year.
Hot garbage, that match. That was terrible. So
it was a pointless match.
Yeah. Anyway, who wins?
AJ goes over though. AJ, obviously. I don't see Shane winning this match at all.
It just wouldn't. I don't think it'd serve anything. I think you've got to legitimize AJ.
Like if it was no DQ, which obviously they touched on this week on SmackDown, that it is just a wrestling match. Yeah. AJ was brilliant in that promo, in my opinion, as well. And obviously if it was no DQ, then obviously you could have had someone debut, and then that's the only way he wins for me. But that's not going to happen because it is just a legitimate wrestling match. So AJ is going to win this for me.
Yeah, I think I would. What I would actually like to see is Shane, gets a few of those shithouse watery jabs in, and then AJ just schools him. Just absolutely schools him, outclasses him. Doesn't necessarily just beat the shit out of him, but just outclasses him, out-wrestles him, and looks $1 million. And Shane sort of looks back and goes, yeah, maybe I should have added a stipulation in. Maybe I should have had it, where I could use some weapons because this guy's legit and this guy's awesome. And everyone should respect him for that. But it's not going to happen. Shane's going to fucking do something probably stupid. He's probably going to jump off that roller coaster or the stage or some shit. And it'll happen. But for me, AJ over, for sure. It's got to. Has to happen.
If it doesn't, there'll be riots.
There will be. There will be in my house anyway.
Yeah, I'll probably switch off. It's one of them. It's got to. But next on the card, I've got Neville versus Aries.
See, this is a pre-show. He's the pre-show king of the cruiserweights, Neville now, which was another thing. I don't know. What did you reckon?
I think it'll steal the show, though.
Yeah. Do you think they're worried about it stealing the show? Do you reckon that's why they want it on the pre-show?
Yeah, and plus they don't care about the cruiserweights.
They don't. I think that's the real reason that it's on the pre-show.
But before we talk about this match, I just want to touch on the cruiserweights and my issue with the cruiserweight division.
Yeah,
I actually think the division's looking quite strong. I think they've got some really, really good wrestlers. But they're constantly saying that they don't want the cruiserweight division to feel like it's separate from Raw. Then why the fuck are they changing the ropes to purple every time?
Yeah. That's been my issue.
Because it feels separate. And every 5 minutes they have to mention 205 Live. Yes, we get it. They've got their own show. But you keep banging on about we don't want it to feel separate. Yeah, it's got its own show. It's got its own look. It should just have the red ropes.
Yeah.
Why can't it just have what Raw's got?
Just be a division.
It's as simple as that.
You don't have to be a gimmick. Just be a division.
At the end of the day, Raw's 3 hours long. It always seems to fucking struggle to fill those 3 hours with decent content. Why not just give us decent storytelling and decent wrestling from the cruiserweights?
Give them
every week on Raw.
Give them 2 10, 12-minute really good fast-paced matches, and you watch the crowd respond when you give them two like really cracking wrestling matches instead of rolling out fucking Alicia Fox with Noam Dar, who is a genuinely good wrestler. You roll him out and he's got to fucking worry about her and she's distracting people. All it is It's exactly what you're getting on Raw, but with purple ropes. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense.
I just don't see why they have to go to that effort every bloody ad break. There's going to be a cruiserweight match to go and change the ropes. I just think it's pointless, and you're just making the division feel completely separate from the show that it's on. If you want it to be that separate, don't put it on Raw. Just let it have its own show on the network.
Let it be 205 Live, and that's it. And that's the only place you can show. Yeah.
It would be a shame because obviously a lot of people that don't watch the network are going to miss out on people like Neville and Aries.
I don't watch it. I don't watch 205 Live.
Neither do I. I've never watched it. So I wouldn't. But that's half the trouble as well, because they've got that separate show. Stuff happens on there.
Yeah.
That people don't know about, that only watch Raw.
Yeah. So
this is the issue.
Yeah.
Like in the last month, this rivalry in the last month could have closed out Raw. That's how good I actually think it's been.
Yeah. These two have been unbelievable. And Austin Aries
it would have been a proper build.
Absolutely world class on the mic, in the ring, everywhere. But because he's a shorter guy, he gets relegated to this division. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just saying this is a guy who you could, if you weren't segregating them so much, this is a guy who could go from the Cruiserweight title to the US title and then to the world title. Like he could, if he climbed the theoretical ladder, this is a guy in Austin Aries who you could have go up against a Finn Balor in a year's time as a credible threat, because he's ran through everyone in the Cruiserweight division. He's ran through everyone in the US title division or whatever's on Raw. And, and he's reached this point. They did it with him in TNA, and I'll give TNA credit for how they handled Austin Aries, because that's where I first heard about him. That's where I saw his first initial body of work.
They made a star out of him.
Yeah.
They did make a star out of him.
Yeah. And so, I hope Austin Aries does well, but in terms of the result at WrestleMania on the pre-show, Neville versus Austin Aries, I think Neville wins, and I think he should.
Yeah, but I'd like to see Neville hold the title for a while.
Yeah. And really just ward off the most credible threat yet, which is Austin Aries.
I can't believe how good he is as a heel.
Oh, he's brilliant, isn't he? It just rejuvenated him completely. He was waiting for it. He was just
They changed the music.
Yep.
They changed the music as well. They made it edgier. They made it darker. They've given him this attitude.
Yep.
He's been brilliant on the mic.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how good he's been.
Do you know what I would do? I would have, and this is fantasy booking, and we'll get into a bit of that during this card. But what I would do is I would have Neville win, maybe even cheat to beat Austin Aries. Do what you got to do to keep that heel heat running, and then he's beating away on Austin Aries after the match, and out comes Hideo Itami. And Hideo Itami is the new entry into the Cruiserweight division. Yeah. And launch him from there, because he's a small guy in comparison, very, very much well within the Cruiserweight division, and he brings yet another dynamic. He's not really a high flyer, but he'll kick your fucking head off, and I reckon him and Neville could have cracking matches. So that's what I'd do, personally.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I do like that a lot. But it makes sense.
Who goes over? Did you make a prediction?
I think Neville goes over. For me, I think if it's WWE's booking though, guarantees they put the strap on Aries.
Yeah. Well,
because that's just what they're like.
I wouldn't be unhappy with that either. But I think this match will be one of the best on the card, and I will be making a point of watching the pre-show, which I usually have on in the background on WrestleMania Day. Not really paying attention, but I will sit down and make a point of watching it, because I think it will be one of the best. There's
some really good matches on the pre-card this year.
Yeah.
Because they've relegated stuff to the pre-card.
Yeah. Well, we may as well go straight to the Battle Royal while we're talking pre-show.
Yeah.
It's got to be Braun, doesn't it? I don't think there's much to say about it.
Yeah. Unless they give that Big Show one last
yuck
hurrah.
It would be the worst. If the Big Show wins it would be the worst thing.
It would.
But the other plausible outcome I could see could be Sami Zayn. I would love to see an underdog Sami Zayn maybe eliminate Braun Strowman to win it. But
didn't they do the whole, if Sami doesn't win, he gets fired?
Yeah, to get in.
That was on Raw, weren't it?
Yeah, and then he beat Kevin Owens. So he's just beat the number one contender for the United States Championship, so technically he should be number one contender if you're really going on that. Yeah. But I think Braun wins it at a canter. At a fucking canter. I hope he does too. I hope he just destroys everyone, throws everyone out, and it's over quickly, and we can fucking move on.
It's the one match I never watch.
I'm the same.
Never.
Because why would you?
I stick it all on, and then it happens, and it was on the main show last year.
Yeah.
And yet there was stuff being relegated to the pre-show, and I was like, "Why is this shit on here?" All right, Corbin won, and he's obviously had a brilliant year this year. They actually used it to elevate someone to the next level, but still, it was such shit.
Yep, it's pointless, and it is what it is. And I think Braun's winning, and hopefully, like the match, we can just move on from the fucking battle royal because I hope it's over quickly. And what is next?
I have Cena, Nikki, Miz, Maryse.
This has been brilliant, to be fair. I hated it last week, that fucking Bella bullshit or whatever they call it. But I feel like this week it was actually quite genuinely funny.
The Miz is brilliant.
Yeah. I
hated The Miz back in the day, but the Miz we get now is unbelievable.
What do you make of this Bella bullshit stuff? Is it really? Is it up your alley? Is it good? Is it bad?
I'm not really interested in this sort of thing.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to happen though. Like the minute that Cena lost the title at Elimination Chamber, it was the Miz that pinned him and all this crap, and it was just like, oh, so we're going to get Miz Cena, but they're obviously going to mix it up, and then obviously we've got the backstage stuff with Maryse, and I'm just not into. Not into
what I like about it. Is I don't know what they're saying. I can't tell the difference between what is fake and what is real in what they're saying, and that's what's got me interested in it, because they are saying shit that's cutting quite close to the bone, I reckon, and you can sort of see it on Cena and Miz's face in particular, because the other two women have probably got fucking Botox in every orifice on their face, but. You can see it in Miz and Cena's face that they're sort of pushing each other's buttons with a lot of this sort of stuff, and that's
you can see the Miz don't like Cena.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you can see the Miz is jealous of Cena's position. I think he feels like he could do the same thing, and that he's just as good. And in a lot of ways, he probably is just as good as John Cena, because I reckon they're about on par in the ring, really, and they can both talk really, really well. So, like, in a lot of ways, they are very similar. And The Miz does, as John Cena said today, The Miz does little remakes of movies he's already starred in and that sort of thing, like The Marine, and that's, So it's like, I'm intrigued. But I think the match will be, it'll be okay. It'll do it. It'll serve its purpose. And Cena will probably propose to Nikki Bella after the match, and everyone will be happy ever after. She'll probably retire. I don't fucking know. Who wins?
Yeah, that's it. Cena and Bella, definitely, I think.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see it go the other way. Try and elevate Miz a little further, get him, the win over Cena, but it won't happen. Cena's not got long left. We all know that. He's going to be going part-time soon. I think Nikki Bella's on the verge of retirement as well. She's talked about it, so
I think
give
after
him that one last match.
I think this could very well be Nikki Bella's last WrestleMania match, if not her last match in general. So I would, if that is the case, I would actually like to see Nikki, for lack of a better term, go out on her back, and maybe have Miz and Maryse cheat to win. If Cena's going to go away and do some movies and stuff, and he's not going to be around for the next sort of 2-3 months, why not give Miz and Maryse the rub? And Miz might be able to go on and challenge Bray Wyatt for the world title down the track. He might be able to do some things like that. So, I think it could go either way, but I think I'm with you. I think Cena and Nikki win. Who knows how? Who cares how? I think it's a popcorn match for me. I'll be getting another beer.
Yeah, definitely. But next I've got the SmackDown Women's Championship. Because it's like an invitational, isn't it?
Well, now they announced today, I think I heard this. I wasn't paying much attention, but I think it's a 6-pack challenge now. So they added Naomi, and now it's a 6-pack challenge, which I don't actually really know what that is. I don't know if that's a elimination match. Or
Well, the thing is,
a...
when it was an invitational, I was more intrigued.
Yeah.
Because I had a feeling that Asuka might drop the title the night before and debut.
It would be cool, but I reckon that's been given.
Obviously,
I reckon that's been given the arse because Meltzer reported that Asuka's going to be down in NXT for a little while. I hate reading that, but I just heard that today. And it's on the pre-show. I don't think they'll do it in front of a half-empty stadium. I don't think it would make much sense.
Yeah.
But then again, it's WWE. They probably will. So, who knows?
You just never know. You just never know with them. You know?
The hard part here is who wins.
Naomi, just because home fans, and she had to relinquish the title early because of that injury.
I think you're right. I think Naomi will win it in front of her hometown. And
that's WWE's booking.
Yeah.
That's the way they book.
Yeah. I think it'd be nice for her too, even though there'll be no one in the stadium at that point. But I think it would be really nice for her to do that.
Yeah. No, we had a little chat about this. It is a shame that it's been relegated to the pre-show.
In the lead-up, it felt like it was more important than the Raw women's title, but apparently not.
And that division's been one of the strongest on SmackDown.
Easily. Very, very easily.
All that hard work.
Yeah.
Since the brand split, they get to Mania and they just go, do you know what? Pre-show is fine. Enough people will watch it.
Yeah. And they're right. Like, you're still on WrestleMania, but you're not. Like, it's basically
not
saying...
the same.
It's basically telling everybody this isn't as important as the Raw Women's title. Don't forget that. Because these women will go on when it's night and the crowd's full and everyone's fucking up for it. But everybody's going to be fine in their seats. Naomi's probably going to win. There's probably going to be a nice cheer for her because everybody knows now that she's in her hometown. But, that's what's a shame about it to me. Like, you at least give her that moment in front of the full crowd and relegate something else to the pre-show, or just stick it on there, man.
Do you know what the sad thing is? Is that during the main show, we're going to have Pitbull fucking singing. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, man.
We're going to have him, singing, and we're probably going to get some shit. Because you always get one of those comedy skits that's going to last 10 minutes too long.
Yeah.
And this match, which could potentially be one of the better matches because they've got a strong women's division in SmackDown, is relegated. That's what annoys me. Like we had the whole Rock Rousey thing at Mania. Was that a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
That went over too long.
Well,
I was looking at some of the stuff on the pre-show that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That could have been on the main show.
Well, it was great. Like, I really loved that moment, but you could have cut 15 minutes out of that segment. I reckon that segment went half an hour, at least.
Do you know what my issue with that segment was, though?
What's that?
It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
They did this whole thing where they put her in the ring, the Rock's there, they have this altercation, but it's not as if they picked it up, like, later down the line, like on Raw or anything, and something happened as a result. It was just kind of a throwaway segment at Mania.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do have issues with that when pointless throwaway segments. We've got half an hour to fill.
I can tell you really took issue with that a while ago, and you've still harboured it, which I like. The bitterness is really strong in there.
It winds me up.
But so we've covered who wins. We reckon Naomi's going to win. What's next?
We might as well talk about the women's, the Raw Women's title. Might as well follow it up with that.
The more important title.
So this is a fatal four-way now. Nia Jax is involved. So
good on her for that.
Yeah. She'll dominate the match, but she won't win.
Yeah. Well, who wins? We may as well tackle who wins, and then we'll get into what we think.
It's hard. I actually don't know. It's between Sasha and Charlotte. I don't see Bayley retaining because she's just Bayley after all, remember?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Sasha or Charlotte. I'm going to go Sasha just because
I tend to want to think...
fitter.
Tend to think that it might come down to Sasha, quote-unquote, cheating against Bayley. And I hope that's the way it goes, because then you're kind of paying off this dissension between the two. I think you come out of it with a heel champion in Sasha. You maybe
And you build from there.
Yeah, and you maybe go with Charlotte and Nia coming out of it. You know, like the battle of the big dogs, I guess. And we'll get to the big dog later, but you know, the battle of the Goliaths in the division, and then you go with Bayley and Sasha for a little bit. I think that would maybe be the best outcome I can see, is that Sasha turns heel, maybe fucking blast Bayley with the belt, even though it's no DQ, or you know.
I think the only issue we're going to have if Sasha goes heel, we're going to have a lot of heel women on Raw.
Yeah, I mean, but then it's the challenge to maybe bring Asuka in as a face challenger down the road after Bayley. You know, give her a bit more time. And I don't know. I'd
like to see, you know, whoever wins, I would like to see Nia and Bayley come out of the match strong. Like,
yeah. Oh, I think they will. You know, they're good at these sort of things. They're good at these multi-man, multi-women matches, WWE. I think it'll be a really solid match, just because of who's involved. And I think Nia will be a good base for, you know, a lot of them to bounce off and that sort of thing.
I quite like Nia, just because she's not
like most girls, man.
She's not like the average,
girls.
is she?
She's not like most girls.
I like the fact she's fucking dominant as well. Like, she's strong.
Yeah.
I like what they did
at the end of that match on Raw. How she just flattened everyone. That looked good. That's how she should be. That's how she should be booked all the time.
They've made her look strong going into the match.
Yeah. But I think we're both unanimous on Sasha winning that one. I hope someone's taken these down, because I won't remember who I've predicted. But yeah, Sasha over. What's next? I think we're getting quite into the nitty gritty now, wouldn't we? The big boys.
We've got like the tag matches. We might as well talk about both of them first.
Yeah,
is the SmackDown tag titles being defended?
I'm pretty sure they are, but I couldn't tell you how. Like, that hasn't been given a ton of time. I think it'll be a multi-man match, wouldn't it? I don't actually know.
Probably. What wound me up about that, though, is they gave it to the Usos last week, which is strange.
Were they on today? Did I miss it? Were the Usos on today?
There was a Big Ten man.
Yeah, there was too.
Tag match ring.
I tuned out completely during that, man.
Yeah, it was a massive waste of time.
Who won? Oh, fucking Mojo Rawley.
Yeah, it was his lot.
Jesus.
There was too many of them to remember all the names. I think Rhino, Heath Slater were part of that team.
Yeah, Andre the Giant, because fucking Breeze came in dressed as Nikki, having a chat to D-Bry, and I was like, my God, don't make this a thing. Please, don't make this a thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know, Usos retain in whatever match,
whoever they're facing. I don't know much about that match, but the other one, obviously, I think the other one actually has potential to be good, just because, obviously, if people have watched Raw, they know ladders were introduced. Yes. So could be made a ladder match, which would be better, because then it ends up the tag is Tornado Rules. Yeah, everyone's involved. Much prefer that.
It's 100% now. It's a ladder match. I think I read that on Twitter. Yeah. That will be a really awesome match. There's some really, really good wrestlers in that match. So, that'll be an interesting one. Who wins that one, do you reckon?
Enzo and Cass.
You reckon? Yeah.
I think they finally put the straps on them. They've had a good year. And Enzo with a ladder can only mean dangerous things. He'll probably end up with 4 concussions at the end of it all.
I tweeted about that. I reckon it could be his last match ever. Like, he will...
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He'll win the belt and then have to retire the next night.
Yeah, he'll do a Daniel Bryan. He'll fucking have to be out for, with lesions on his brain and shit, because he is an idiot when it comes to that sort of thing. Like, he will just throw himself headfirst into anything. So, I think you're right. I think Big Cass and Enzo... I can see Enzo maybe on Big Cash's shoulders getting helped up the ladder to grab it. Something like that.
I think the way my thinking is, they put the straps on them, they have a little run, and then they'll probably lose the belts to New Day, because they tried to build a program between the two. And they'll drop the belts, and they'll split, and Cass will go singles. I think they'll push Cass eventually.
Yeah.
How can you not?
Yeah.
How can you not?
He's
Guy's
good.
An absolute.
He's exactly what Vince McMahon loves, that bloke. He is exactly what Vince McMahon loves.
He's semi-decent on the mic, but he's brilliant in ring. Yeah, that's what I think will happen.
Yep. I think you might be spot on there, man. I think you might be spot on. We'll give them their run. We'll give them their big moment at WrestleMania. I think you're
They've
spot
always
on.
been the nearly men. They've always been the nearly men.
Yeah.
Even in NXT, never managed to win it, but I think they'll finally give them their moment.
But they haven't really played up to that. I really like being told that story. You know, I really like being told these guys have never really reached the mountaintop. Can they do it at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
But instead, it's just like he's a loudmouth and he's annoyed a heap of people, and that's why he's in the match, basically. But
They could have
anyway.
used some really good vignettes to.
Oh man, seriously, like you could have showed them losing title matches in NXT, and getting so close and being so close, always being the bridesmaid, never the bride, and then at WrestleMania they topple the champs. But yeah, I think you're right. I think they will win that. What's next? What do we got next?
We'll talk Taker Reigns next, because
Reigns.
there's just because there's not a belt involved, but we'll talk about.
Yeah. Taker
Undertaker
Reigns. How have you liked
what's
this?
What's your take? What's your take on this?
Okay, I like it. I do. My worry is the actual match. I know Reigns. I think he's underrated as a performer. I think he's very, very underrated as a wrestler. Everybody chants you can't wrestle. That's complete fucking garbage. He can.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I just worry what Undertaker can do. I really do. I just watching him, you know, when he chokeslammed Braun Strowman, I still can't believe the hops that Braun Strowman has to take a chokeslam like he did and literally leap that fucking high in the air. And it looked so good. But when the Undertaker spun around, he sort of grimaced, and I'm like, man, this guy's got maybe this is it for this guy. He's got one more match left in him. But yeah, I am excited for it because it's like a train crash. You just sort of can't look away. It's the old two dogs fucking on the side of the road kind of thing. When you're driving past, it draws your attention and you're like, oh, what's going on there? That's what it's sort of like for me. I have enjoyed the build to a degree, but I think it's just been clinical Undertaker where the gong lights out, he's standing there, stare down, chokeslam. Like we've seen it a million times.
But it's hard not to get excited still.
It still pops me every time I hear the gong. So I can't complain about it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I've actually quite liked it. I like the build. I like the whole Rumble moment as well. We all knew that was going to be it. You know, at the Rumble, you could kind of see it building.
And that's
I think they've done it the right way.
Yeah,
they've not rushed it either, in my opinion. I think they've gone about it the right way. I just want to touch on Reigns as well. I think the guy gets such a hard time, and I think we all have to remember that it's not Reigns' fault.
No, he doesn't write the fucking script.
It's Vince's. He doesn't write the stories. It's not like he's turned around and said, make me look the strongest, make me look like this.
No.
I understand. It's very easy to get bored of people when they're being shoved down your throat the way they are. But it's the business that's doing it. It's not Reigns. He is actually, like you say, he's a very good wrestler. I watch a lot of his matches and get very invested. I think he's very, very good.
His match with Kevin Owens at was it at the Royal Rumble? Was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And you can't tell me that was all Kevin Owens. It had a lot to do with Kevin Owens, but he's got to have a good dance partner.
How many times has he had a bad match?
I can't remember the last time I've looked at a Roman Reigns match and said that was terrible. Like a big Roman Reigns main event match, it doesn't get much better in terms of in-ring. The guy never botches anything.
And the thing about him as well is, even though 9 times out of 10 he will get the victory, my God, does he sell everything for the other guy?
Yeah.
He's very good at selling being hurt.
And, I guess everybody's problem is that he kicks out of fucking everything. So I guess in that way he's not selling
But that's the way he's booked.
That's what he's being told to do.
That's what people need to remember, is that's the way he's booked. He's not, I'm sure if he had his way, he would try to look weak from time to time.
And I'm sure if he had his way, he wouldn't be cutting 20-minute promos on live TV either.
No, he wouldn't.
Because it's not his strength. So, yeah, I think it's harsh, but I think you're right. I think the build to Roman and Undertaker has been good.
They're teasing a heel turn as well.
Yeah, and that's juicy,
I don't think it's going to happen, but the tease is nice, because they haven't really given us that.
But isn't he already the biggest heel in the company? What do you need to change about him? Really?
Exactly.
You don't need to change anything.
He's already hated
Yeah.
so much by everyone.
And the thing is,
what,
if you turned him, if you quote unquote turned Roman Reigns heel, the crowd would start to cheer him. So why change it? I love the way they're going with him personally.
he talks like a heel.
Yeah, he's cocky
How many-
and he doesn't
how
look
many-
like everyone.
yeah. How many faces stand in the ring and go, "This is my yard" to the Undertaker? Like that's a
Exactly.
really arrogant thing. Like
It's a
so,
heel thing to do.
it
And
would be nice.
Yeah, he's going to get so many boos when he walks out there. And that's exactly what they want, because they want a crowd divided. They want a crowd that wants The Undertaker to win and wants Roman Reigns to lose. And then, this is my prediction, I think Roman Reigns will win. I don't know how, but I really hope Roman Reigns wins, even if it's just the way he's always won. Kicks out of everything and then hits a spear and wins. I think therein lies the heel turn without changing anything. All he has to do is stand over The Undertaker and say, "Rest in peace." And that's all he has to do, and he's the most hated man in the industry without changing a thing about him.
And then just bring him out on Raw the next night and have him just be
insufferable.
Just awful.
Yeah. Insufferable. And people will boo him out of the building. But who do you think wins?
I think Reigns goes over. Just because of what you said. Just because of what you said with Undertaker. Just choke slamming one person. He looked like he'd been on a 10-mile run.
Yeah.
He just hasn't got it anymore.
And it's a shame.
He just hasn't got
it. I watched an interview with him a while ago when he was a younger man in his prime, and he said, "I don't want to be the other guy. I don't want to be the guy that everybody is saying, man, why is he still doing it?" And I think he's at that point now where everybody's starting to say, why is he still here? Why is he still doing this?
I actually think he's been around 3 years too long.
Yep. Are you in the same boat as me? I tend to think it should have been CM Punk that ended it. Just after that whole build, that match was one of my favourites ever.
See, the issue for me, which you know what I would have loved, we're talking dream matches now.
Yeah.
Is we get the way I would have booked Undertaker's basically retirement match. There's only one man for me that does it, and it's Kane.
Yeah, I can see that.
One man that does it for me. Kane disappears. Undertaker makes his appearance like he always does, ready for WrestleMania. He's on Raw, shooting a promo about who's he going to face. Goes dark, flames come up, Kane's there, choke slam. They build a massive match, a bit like they did in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But it's, Kane of old with the proper old mask and everything. They go to Mania, make it a retirement match for either man because they're both
and
at that part of their
they'd
career.
be both plausible to retire. Yeah, I like it.
And that's it. Kane does it. For me, there was only ever one man that retired him, and it was Kane, just because of the wars they'd had and the story that they are like the Brothers of Destruction and all that sort of stuff. I just think it made sense. We're never going to get it, because obviously Kane's doing what he's doing now. He's done, and Undertaker's been around far too long. But that's how I would have booked it.
So, mate, so does Reigns retire him at WrestleMania this year?
Well, they've not made that official, have they? But if Reigns wins, I do think that's it.
Do you know what I'd love to see? And this is, you can watch this every week on my channel with my universe mode, is I would have a fucking scorched earth beating. I would just wipe The Undertaker off the face of the earth and have Reigns just beat the absolute living piss out of him, finish him,
so hated then,
and retire him. And how much more heel heat can you get than standing over a bloodied Undertaker after you've put him through the announce table or whatever, and and again say rest in peace, you motherfucker, or something like that, like bleep it out. And then, oh man, there's so many ways you could do it. But anyway, we'll have to move on. We've both gone Reigns, I think, which I think a lot of people will be surprised.
They might, but I just don't see, if you got to look at it from the company's standpoint. They're trying to push Reigns. Yeah. Best way to do it, especially if you're going to turn him heel.
Hey,
so
I think we're in cahoots there. What's next? What do we got on this?
Jericho Owens.
How many matches is there?
We've got 3 more.
Okay.
So Jericho Owens.
This has been I said it earlier. I think this has been the best build of the entire card between these two. The dissension, then the eventual turn. I think it's just been fucking great. I think it should have potentially, if they had done it the right way and had a little bit of faith in Kevin Owens. I think they have faith in Chris Jericho, but I don't know that they have faith in Kevin Owens to main event a WrestleMania, because obviously Jericho's been there and done it. I think you could have main evented WrestleMania for the Universal title and given it the same rub that Goldberg and Lesnar are giving it, because it's a well-told story. Everybody wants to see the match, but instead it's for the US title. But I think this has been the best told story of anything we've seen. What do you think?
Yeah, by far. Other than the whole Seth Triple H thing, I do think this has been the best built story. I think if we're talking dream scenarios, it should have headlined. I think it should have been for the big one, the Universal Championship. And personally, I'd have liked to have seen Jericho go over, hold it for a little while, and then Owens just take it the next pay-per-view. We all know that Jericho's going to go off with his band and stuff, but I think the work Jericho's done deserved a little run.
Yeah.
That's how I would have booked it.
It would have been a really nice moment to have Jericho go off the air at WrestleMania with Jericho. You know, he might have been even in tears because he sort of just reached the mountaintop again. You know, that could have been a really nice moment.
When you think about what we're going to get as the headline, which has been rushed, and, you know, we'll touch on that in a minute, but we're actually going to get to what we could have got.
Yeah.
The Jericho Owens thing has been going on all year. They built it in such a brilliant way, and yet it's going to be wasted and probably delegated to sort of like, you know, fifth match from the end, because you know that they'll put a real crap match in after it, because it'll blow everybody away. In my opinion, this match, I think it's going to be brilliant. So they'll always put, you know, a rubber match after for the people to go and get their popcorn and replenish their drinks. But it is a shame. You know, for me, it should have been top of the show. It's been the best story on either brand all year long.
I think so. And I think they earned that opportunity. And if it wasn't, you know, and you said it right at the top, that's exactly the reason CM Punk left the company, is this kind of shit. You've done the best work of anyone on that roster, but because of who you used to be, you get to be on the main event of WrestleMania. And I'm not saying, and we'll get to it in a second, I'm not saying Goldberg has done a bad job. I'm not saying Lesnar's done a bad job. But you've got to, at some point, you've got to pay off the fans that are paying the bills. And that's what we are. That's what you and I are. We're the guys with the network. We're not the casual fan. We're the guys who are going to be there once that final bell at WrestleMania goes. We're the ones looking forward to Raw. We're the ones looking forward to Extreme Rules. We're the ones looking forward to Payback. All that shit. We're the ones paying the bills. So
the trouble is, WWE have got such short memories, because Goldberg and Brock have done this before and it was shit.
Yes, it was. They had to introduce Austin into the mix to try and get some heat on it, and nobody.
Well, Brock was
leaving.
Brock was leaving the company. He didn't care.
No.
But, you know, I've got issue anyway with that. You know, I'll talk about it in a minute, but that's not the match people wanted. I'm telling you, for me, this is the match people wanted.
Yep.
Top of the show.
Who wins?
Owens goes over. Just because I only say that because Jericho's going off with a band at some point.
Yeah. And sometimes
we know he's not going to be on TV.
Sometimes it's not great to know that, is it? Like,
no.
Because that's the reason I'm picking Kevin Owens as well. And because of the
social media.
Yeah, and because of the guy that Chris Jericho is. I think Jericho wants Owens to come out of this looking the best he possibly can, because Jericho knows, he's said it before on his podcast, I've heard him say it a million times, he's a made man. He's forever over. Chris Jericho could go away for 2 or 3 months, come back and get the exact same reaction. He's never, ever going to hurt. It's never going to be hurt. He jobbed to FanDanGoal at WrestleMania. He lost to FanDanGoal. And look at him now. Everybody wants to see him in the main event. So
he's doing his best work for years as well.
Oh, mate. He's been my favourite wrestler for the year. And I'm a huge Kevin Owens fan. Like, he's been, you know, maybe equal favourite, but man, fucking hell. I want to see, and I'm kind of in your school of thought. I'd like to see Jericho go over and then maybe drop it, but yeah, I'll be happy with either way.
But obviously we don't know the time scale. But this is I just want to touch on something. We know that he's going. I think this is where social media plays a big problem in the wrestling biz now. It's, you know, back in the day, I remember Triple H when he came back after he tore his quad off the bone. When he came back, the pop when he came back in the day, because no one knew it was going to happen. There was no social media. We didn't have any of that. Social media now has ruined all that. Yeah. It ruins comebacks. It ruins debuts because it's all up there before it happens.
Dave Meltzer, you'll see a tweet from Dave Meltzer. Oh, Chris Jericho due to lose to Kevin Owens at WrestleMania because he's taking off on a tour 3 days later, or, you know, I'm just paraphrasing. I don't know the exact time frame either, but we know he's leaving in April or whatever. I think mid-April or something. I think I read ages and ages ago on a world tour. He's posted dates. He's leaving. So I think Kevin Owens over. I just hope, and I know that they're going to tell a brilliant story, and it's going to be a really cracking wrestling match as well. Yeah. But I think we're both unanimous on Kevin Owens going over, becoming the United States champion, and I hope he can bring something and actually really hold that dear to him, you know, that US title. Go on a run with it. Hold it for, you know, 4 or 5 months. Have some classic matches with the likes of Cesaro and all these kind of guys, and just build some credibility back up, much like John Cena did after WrestleMania a while ago. Yeah. But yeah, Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, a real sleeper for match of the night, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Next, I've got Bray Randy.
I've loved it, and I don't usually like the science fiction-y sort of shit, but I've really loved the nuances in this story, whether the WWE meant it or not. I've really loved the little nuances. What do you reckon? Have you enjoyed it, or has it been a bit too far out? Or?
I have actually quite enjoyed it. It is a little silly, but
it's wrestling.
I think it works, but I think it works because of Bray's character, and we've always heard about, you know, Sister Abigail, and it's always been dropped in there. It's always been something.
Yep.
And that's why I think it's worked. I actually, for me, dream booking would be during the course of the match, lights go out like they do in Bray's matches from time to time.
Yeah.
And lights come up, and there's a woman standing in the ring in front of Randy.
That'd
Sister Abigail.
Amazing.
They've been teasing for a while. Bray's sister is, you know, at the Performance Center.
Is she?
Makes sense.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? And it just sort of spooks him into a Sister Abigail for the 1, 2, 3. That would be fucking really cool, man. I didn't even think of that. That would be a great little way to sort of do it, because, you know, Randy tried to kill her, but, you know, maybe she was out for dinner or something, wasn't in the joint.
Yeah. But it could be the whole, like, he's made it just seem like it, you know, Bray all these years has kind of been making it seem like she's kind of a spirit, something inside him, but actually she is a real person, and she kind of presents herself at Mania and assists in the win. I think that
really cool, man. I'm on board with that. I'm on board with that. It really
won't happen. It's WWE, but you know, the rumor mill is that his sister's actually at the Performance Center. She's been working.
Does she
with
look
WWE
really weird?
For a while.
Because I know Bo looks really fucking weird when he's got his long hair and shit.
She's got like dark hair, like really, like, you know, dark hair. But I'm sure they could make her look.
I always picture Sister Abigail looking like the chick from The Ring, like the little girl from The Ring.
Yeah.
She comes out in like that full white fucking robe, like, or t-shirt, like long t-shirt down to her ankles and that. Stares across the ring from him. Orton's like, holy shit. It's like she's actually real. Sister Abigail, bang, 1, 2, 3. Bray Wyatt. I'm picking Bray Wyatt because of that. And I don't reckon it's going to happen. And I reckon Randy will go over clean. But just in my heart of hearts, I really, really want to see something like that happen. Some big payoff where it's like, holy shit, who is that?
Yeah, I'd like to see Bray win. I don't think he's held the strap long enough.
Yeah.
And he's not really had any classic matches either, because of when he won the strap, you know, in the time scale that he's been given on the run up to WrestleMania. You know, and they've had this big the big thing with Randy. They've been building that story. We knew it was going to happen. And so they've kind of concentrated on that. I'd like to see him have a bit more of a run, personally. I think if they do something like that at Mania, where they introduce a character like that, it could make him more dominant.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he could
come out
go
with
on
this
more
creepy
of a
chick.
tear.
Yeah, the creepy chick in his corner all the time, like freaking people out, just standing there, not saying anything, not looking up or anything.
like I don't know if you watch What Culture Wrestling on
Yeah, I've seen a bit.
YouTube, but
WWE, like WTF Momos from WWE
yeah,
Raw.
but
Sound like one of the
Adam
greatest.
Blompier booked Sister Abigail. He didn't book it the way I've just booked it, but
All
he
right.
kind of he booked Sister Abigail that Bliss would become Sister Abigail, but
Oh,
not like so. Basically, she wouldn't actually be Sister Abigail, but like basically it was when Bray was going through that point where he was losing quite a lot on
yeah.
pay-per-views, and he was gonna like lose and be distraught, and she was gonna come out and kind of present herself and be like, well, I can help you make all this better, and then kind of say that she's Sister Abigail, and because Bray kind of believed it. So they
Yeah.
didn't really go down the supernatural route. They actually she was using Bray to get something
Mm. Gee, that
out
would
of
have been
it for
interesting
herself.
as well.
Yeah. I like Blompier does a lot of that. He's like
Yeah.
how I would have booked,
Yeah,
and I
I've
quite
I've
like.
seen I've seen a few of them. I watched his WrestleMania Part 1 that he recorded like in February. So none of it's
Yeah,
sort of, but he's actually still quite spot on to what's going on.
yeah.
Yeah, so what do you reckon, in your heart of hearts, you reckon Bray wins, or do you think Randy wins?
I think Randy goes over, but I'd like to see Bray
Yeah,
win.
I'm in that camp as well. If I was actually, betting, if I was a betting man, I would have all my money on Randy Orton, because
Mm.
personally, I think they made him a promise at SummerSlam. If you hard way for Brock, there'll be something in it for you down the road, and I think this could be it. Like the a world title run on top on SmackDown could be the reason he took that fucking really, knife-like elbow from Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
which I think was all pre-planned. So, yeah, I think Orton over, but I love your idea. I want to see that happen straight away. I might even fucking book it, or you should book it in your universe mode, man, on your fucking
Yeah,
on
good. Well,
CBTV.
I don't know who's got Bray. I think my brother might have Bray, so
Well,
maybe I could share the idea with him.
make sure he doesn't hear this then. Maybe just try make a sneaky trade for him, and then get Bray in and just get him over with
Yeah,
that sort of storyline.
yeah.
Um, what's up?
Next I've got Triple H Rollins.
This has been this has been up there with Kevin Owens and Jericho, hasn't it? So
The promos have been solid.
yeah,
Use the injury to their advantage.
it's Triple H, isn't it? So the promos, the back of house stuff's always going to be on point. I mean, that's been happening for years. So he's obviously in someone's ear saying, make us look good. It's never been a better time to be in a program with Triple H. The position he's in, because you're safe, you're in good hands. But that aside, and my smarkiness aside, it's been absolutely brilliant. This build. It's been happening for 3 years, man. Like, this has been going on for like 3 years.
But the genius thing is, they've had to shoot from the hip because of the injury,
Yeah.
and then they've used said injury to their advantage,
Yep.
which I like because WWE are not brave enough to do that anymore.
No.
They're very consistently, very easy to predict these days.
There used to be a time where WWE would see that injury and go, right, let's erase everything. So they must have found out really early on that Seth's injury wasn't that bad, and they must have got the green light very early because they
made
they
it look
never,
worse than it was.
Yeah, and that was genius. And that's what's made it so much better, because when he came back on the crutches, I was like, yes, he's selling it, but he's selling it to make it look so bad that he can't wrestle, because WWE's sort of holding him back because they don't want him to actually do serious damage to a minor injury. So they were selling it to the point where they were like, oh, well, fuck, he must be gone. But then when Triple H started hitting it with the crutch and all that sort of thing, I was like, this guy's ready to go. Like, he's been ready to go for weeks. So
they would never have passed that if he wasn't. So
no way. But this has been brilliant. I think this match is another sleeper, along with Aries and Neville and Owens and Jericho, to steal the show. I think that there's going to be some really cracking storytelling in this match.
It'll be a clinic as well.
Yeah.
Triple H's in-ring ability is next to none. Rollins is brilliant, knows how to entertain.
Yeah.
I actually think this is the match where they kill off the pedigree for Rollins as well.
Yeah, I hope so. I think he debuts.
He can't carry on.
You got to debut a new finisher in this.
Yeah, I think that's what he does.
Yeah. And he goes over, you reckon?
Yeah, for me, I think Rollins goes over. He debuts a new finisher, and he gets the redemption that he wants. Because I liked all that. I love that segment they had on Raw this week. Probably the best bit of Raw, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Yep, I agree. And fantasy booking again, I would have Rollins go over with the new finisher, and then as he's celebrating, Samoa Joe tears him apart, and there's your next program for the next 2 or 3 months. Joe and Rollins, the Destroyer versus the Architect, fucking away off to the races. Triple H sits on the sidelines for a little while, as he usually does, goes back to NXT, starts trying to create the next star, and you're off with Joe and Rollins for the next 2 or 3 pay-per-views. Happy days.
Yep, definitely. And the last one that I've got here written down is Oldberg versus... Oldieberg.
And the big beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar. This will definitely close the show, won't it? As much as people don't want to see it. Oh, yeah. It's going to be on dead last. Do you know what, though? I'm interested. I'm interested because of probably all the wrong reasons, but I'm interested because I want to see what they do. I don't know what they're going to do. I think I have an idea of how the match will start, but I don't know how long it'll go. But I think the only thing that everyone's sure of is that Brock Lesnar will win. He'll get his win back. I don't think they're going to completely bury him again unless he's on his way out. But I don't think that's happening. So my prediction is Brock Lesnar. I think at the start of the match, I think Goldberg will spear him straight away. He'll jackhammer him straight away, and Goldberg will kick out at the tightest 2.9 you've ever seen. And then we'll be off to the races within the first sort of 40 seconds. They'll make you think that it's over. Lesnar will just get the shoulder up. Heyman will be going fucking nuts at ringside. And then I reckon they'll slug it out for a little bit. Brock will start to try and get some momentum back. And eventually sort of he'll eke out maybe... I reckon he'll have to put him away with like 3 F5s, I think, just to even it up. But I think that's how it goes, man. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think the strap will be on Lesnar, end of the night. Biggest issue for me is part-time champs.
Yeah.
I can't get invested in the match. I'm not into part-time champs. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they've done a terrible job of booking the match.
I think they've done a great job. I think the story they've told is fantastic.
I think they've done all right.
This could have been done with Kevin Owens. Or
this match still happens without the belt.
Yeah, 100%.
For me.
100%.
The Kevin Owens match the way the Kevin Owens match should have gone is Jericho's music hits and then the bell's rung. But as the bell's rung, Brock pulls Kevin Owens out of the ring.
Yeah.
Attacks Owens. Bell gets rung again. DQ. Yeah. Then he gets in F5's Goldberg.
Yeah. And then
that's how they should have booked it. Then you don't need the Universal title to be on 2 part-time wrestlers, because at the end of the day, that's supposed to be the marquee title on Raw. But yet you're not going to see it every week.
I know what the thinking behind it is. I know what the thinking behind it is, because you've had Goldberg walking around with your brand new title. You're going to have Brock Lesnar walking around with your brand new title, going to Good Morning America and all that bullshit that they go and do after WrestleMania. And you've got the biggest star in the company holding the belt. It gives it legitimacy. I get that. But what I don't like is their lack of faith in a storyline, a single storyline, being able to give that title legitimacy like I think Owens and Jericho would have done. You could have done US Championship versus Universal Championship. It's title versus title. It's friend versus friend. It's, all of this sort of thing. You could have really, if WWE get the hype machine behind anything, they can make anything work. I feel like you could have done that for this. I feel like it could have been Kevin Owens and it could have been Jericho in the main event. You could have still had Brock and Goldberg, go on maybe third from last and then have a filler match in between and then go to the main event. But I think the best told stories go to the wayside when the star power comes to town. It's always been the way WWE's done business. It's the way they've done it again. But yeah, I think we both agree Brock Lesnar fucking wins. And
yeah, it is just a shame that we've got to put up with the legend slot kind of being the headline match. And
my biggest problem is I don't think it's going to be very good. I love a good
it wasn't first time round.
No, it wasn't.
You're not going to get you're not going to get a clinic. You're not going to get a proper wrestling match. Neither of these guys particularly know how to tell a story. Goldberg has always been a very stiff wrestler.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar relies on 24 suplexes a match.
He's not going to give them to Goldberg. Goldberg's not going to take 20 suplexes.
No, but even then, you know, like, how many German suplexes does someone want to watch before it gets boring? You know, like...
I think the stadium will be really fucking loud. The people will be into it.
Rock and Reigns were having their match, and he was counting them, and it was like 11, 12, and whatever.
Yeah.
He makes it funny, but it's not that's not what I want to see from a main event. You know, the best main event we've had in the last few years was the Daniel Bryan one.
Absolutely.
That's a proper main event. This is a proper wrestling clinic. They told a story.
Yeah.
The build was brilliant. We've not. This is not what I want to see from a main event at WrestleMania.
No, they couldn't even give us a cracking match 10 years ago. So what are we going to do now? So anyway, I mean, I know it's a little bit of a sour note to finish on, but yeah, it is what it is, man. I think we echo the opinions of a lot of people, and you know, it'd be good to get some feedback in the comments of what people think of WrestleMania. What are your predictions and that sort of thing? But overall, I think the show will over-deliver. I really do. I think the WWE is very, very good at making the save. Everyone looked at WrestleMania 31, WrestleMania play button, as a show that was going to be really bad, and they saved it with Rollins cashing in. So, WWE have some tricks up their sleeve. They've got a lot of phones in the phone book. And
obviously, as well, there's going to be some stuff that happens that's not booked.
Absolutely.
There's stuff they keep for the night. We don't know what they're gonna pull out the.
Well, I mean,
the
rumor is that the Hardys might be on their way. Does Vanguard 1 fly out of that fucking ice cream freezer? When the New Day's there, and then and the Hardys show up. That could save the show. That could be all people talk about is Matt and Jeff Hardy come back. They're not going to do it because it's WWE. All New Day is going to do is make a ton of dick jokes and then fucking, throw to the next match or whatever. But overall, what's your excitement level on 1 to 10 for Mania this year?
I'm at about a 6.
Yeah, I reckon I'd be about the same. There's certain things. It's probably, so maybe 4 or 5 things on the card that I'm particularly excited about. But man, there's fucking like 14 matches, 15 matches. So it's really hard to get excited about everything.
I think the trouble with it is these days is Mania's about 7 hours long.
Yeah.
The pre-show's the pre-show goes on forever.
Yeah.
And then the main card is usually 4.5 hours. It's just exhausting. Absolutely. I feel like obviously I don't know what time Mania ends up going on for you, but it usually starts over here now about sort of like 10 p.m.
Really?
You don't finish till 4 in the morning.
Shit. Yeah. Nah. So we start at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it goes until maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So it's perfect for us. But wow.
But sitting there for 6 hours at 10 p.m.
Fuck that.
All the way through to 4 in the morning.
Who wants to sign up for that, man, if you're not interested in anything? But
exactly.
Hey, we do, because we're wrestling fans and we love it. But yeah, man, that's the card. That's WrestleMania. Honestly, it doesn't feel like it is just around the corner, but it is. And WrestleMania is upon us. And what's also upon us is CBTV. May as well give that another plug. You guys are going to be doing Universe Mode. You're going to be doing all kinds of things. We are.
I will give you the link so you can stick it in the description. But yeah, that's just mine and my brother's new channel. It's going to be a good laugh, actually, that channel. I'm really looking forward to making the material for it. Yeah. And I would say the Universe Mode's probably, we were trying to do it so that it would drop the Tuesday after Mania, but it's probably going to be the following week now. We want to make sure the first episodes are perfect. We get the story right, but
they take time.
I'm gonna put this podcast up on my channel as well.
For sure.
For people that are coming over that my brother are pushing there so they can listen to it. But I would say the first proper bit of material will probably be up on that channel in the next couple of weeks. So just to keep your eyes peeled for it, really.
Yeah,
We've got a Twitter attached to that as well. It's
Yep.
just at CBTV YT. So go and follow that as well. A lot like my Twitter for my FanDanGoal channel. It's just going to keep you up to date of everything that's going to drop on there.
Yeah, for sure. And all the links will be in the description. For those of you who are listening on my channel, make sure you go over and subscribe to these boys. Click on all the links. Go over to what's your brother's name again?
It's EastLndTramp
Make
on
sure
Twitch.
you punch that into the Twitch machine. Go and give him a follow. Follow his streams, and follow us both on Twitter. I'm at MurphsYT13. If you're already on my channel, you already know my channel. But if you're not, if you are new, then yeah, obviously just punch in. Generally, you can get to about Murphs, and then it'll come up MURFS, and it'll come up in the search engine. With a whole ton of things, just punch it in. Throw me a sub as well. I'm about 100 from 5,000, which we were talking earlier before we came on, how crazy it can go. And I was saying that it was about a year ago to the day that I was doing a 500 subscriber thank you video and Q&A, and to be at nearly 5,000 is mental. So it can happen.
Crazy.
It can happen. So yeah, show us some love. Show some love for this video, and the dogs are in the house as well. Who let them?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to do it. That's a fucking terrible joke.
Having a little yawn behind me. I just want to drop in as well. Like, I do have my own personal channel and personal Twitter. So if people want to follow that, it's at FanDanGoals. I don't know how far you can get along with that. Just smash it all in. Yeah. It's the same as the YouTube name, but make sure you put the S on the end. And my YouTube channel, I'll stick that link in the description as well.
Everything.
But that's my football-based channel.
Yep.
So
everything's in the description.
If you love footy.
Yeah, follow it all, man. Follow it all. Just go over and throw likes around. Throw it around. Throw the love around. We love it. That's what we do this for. We spend a lot of time, and we're very passionate about it, and that's why I think we've associated ourselves with each other, is because we're both really passionate about what we do. We don't fuck around. We try and get content out as much as we can, and we really care about what we do, and that's why we're here. And we'll have to do this again sometime, man. It's been really good. I've really enjoyed talking shop. So,
yeah, definitely. I'd be well up for it. That's why I contacted you. I realised you hadn't done one in a while, and podcasting's something I really want to get into. So yeah, I'd be well up for doing some more. Yeah,
for sure. We might even do a WrestleMania review or something like that after all the dust settles, and hopefully they've exceeded all of our expectations. I hope this podcast has exceeded all your expectations. Make sure you check out all the shit in the links below. And for me personally, MurphsYT13, thank you very much for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. And for FanDanGoals, Dan, for CBTV, what do you say?
Peace out, my homies.
That's exactly right.